Imagine with me that if we take a high-speed blender, we crush this credit card into small, fine bits of plastic and munch on it like any other snack. Would you do that? Would you feed your children that? But that's precisely what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. Research has suggested that an adult might be consuming up to a credit card's worth of microplastic every single week. Children are eating it too, and because their bodies are smaller, the impact is probably worse. Think of your Hagen bottles and all your plastic bowls and utensils. Micro and nanoplastics have been found in various human organs, including the brain, meaning they can breach the blood-brain barrier. Initial research has also found that microplastics could contribute to cancer through oxidative stress, gene mutation, and chronic inflammation. Now, many people still aren't aware of microplastics, and the research is relatively new. However, even amongst the few who are aware of it, I've observed that people are hardly doing anything about it. My wife gave a children's plastic bottle to a friend the other day, and I told the friend not to use it for her daughter because it's made out of plastic. And she said, "Aya, never mind lah, you mean you bring your own bowl and utensils when you eat out?" I do, by the way. It's almost like people just couldn't care less, or maybe they secretly enjoy eating the plastic. This is what I mean when I say that we all live in the deep grip of culture, and we often aren't as logical as we think we are. Why is that so, and what can we do about it? In this video, I go through my approach to microplastic and what you can do about it as well. So, microplastics are everywhere, literally, in our food, our plates, the air we breathe, the water we drink. In this video, I'm not going to cover the health issues relating to microplastics. I'm just going to leave one or two research pieces about that, and you can find lots of articles online on your own. Instead, I'm going to focus on what I did to address the problem by making adjustments to my home environment. Now, before I start, let me say that the goal is not to eliminate microplastics entirely, because that's more or less impossible, but to reduce it as much as we can. Now, whether or not I get cancer later in my life because of it, I don't know. But if more of my friends start getting cancer or other chronic illnesses as we start getting older, and I don't, then well, maybe that might just be because of the changes I've made to my home environment to get rid of microplastics. Or maybe the plant-based diet that I've chosen to adopt. In fact, I'm trying to find other like-minded folks who intend to live intentionally and avoid microplastics, and generally just eat healthily, so that I can perform a sort of a long-term experiment to track the benefits this group of people have over others who live more casually and according to culture. So if you plan to take similarly drastic measures as I did to live microplastic free, please let me know in the comments below. I'm trying to get a large enough sample size to test my hypothesis of whether people who avoid microplastics really do live healthier lives with less chronic illnesses. Of course, I already know that to be true, but it's still fun to test. Now I'm going to split this video into 3 parts: air, water, and food. Now, none of this is truly scientific in the sense of experimentation, meaning that I don't know how effective any of these measures are, but I do them nonetheless. So if you have taken other approaches to getting rid of microplastics on your own, please share them in the comment box. Please challenge my approach, help me and help others to improve on it. The mainstream understanding around this is still very, very new, and so we need all the help that we can get. Now on to my first point, which is air. So for air, the air we breathe, I mainly did 2 things. 1, I changed all our curtains and our clothing at home. And 2, I got an air purifier which is able to filter out microplastics. So let me cover them in that order. Now, all plastic clothing materials leach plastic over time. So everything that is made out of polyester, nylon, acrylic or spandex, think of your underwear and your socks, all of that will leach plastic. So you only want to be using cotton, linen, hemp, wool, silk, or some other natural materials. So the first thing I did is to scour my entire wardrobe and throw out all the plastic materials, mostly the polyester. The same thing for my bedsheet, pillowcase, blankets, curtains. Now after that, we made a trip to Malaysia to Johor Bahru Premium Outlets and basically bought a full set of non-plastic clothing, beddings and curtains. Now most of you might feel that this is way too troublesome, and I feel you. But can I encourage you on this point that this is a one-time fix. Once you're done, you're done. There's not going to be any more plastic ever leaching from all your clothes. Just make sure that the next time your aunt gives you a polyester shirt or a Lululemon long pants for your Pilates class for your birthday, you toss that in the bin right away. Now, onto my air purifier. In my research, there are only 2 brands in Singapore who can filter microplastics, Blue Air and IQ Air, which is a hospital-grade option and hence more expensive. I've opted for Blue Air, which is around $1,500 per purifier per room, and I'll leave that link in the description box below. If we assume that the air purifier is going to last for 10 years, and we do the math, it boils down to around 40 cents a day, which is honestly quite reasonable. The trouble is that the air purifier is designed to work only in a closed door room. So I have to shut my door every single night, draw my curtains and windows shut as far as possible. I only turn on the air purifier at night, but you can turn it on 24/7 if you so wish. Now, I found it very interesting that when I spoke to the technical expert from Blue Air, who's based in Singapore, that he didn't even know that his own product was capable of filtering out microplastics from the air. So neither do they advertise about microplastics in the brochure. They talk about removing dust and other air particles, but no mention of microplastics at all. So that tells you a lot about the awareness levels of microplastics in our society today. So that's it for point number 1, air. And now, moving on to point number 2, water. So for water, you need to get a reverse osmosis, or what they call an RO system, in order to filter out microplastics. Many of the commercial water filtration systems can't do that at all. And to me, they are just a scam that mainly sells you on getting your hot and cold water faster. You see, convenience sells, and nobody really cares about the actual science or technology behind that. People are willing to pay like $2,000 to get one of those systems that to me is more or less useless, but I spend less than $1,000 to buy and install my RO system. So the brand I bought from US is called iSpring, and it's only around $400. I got a plumber locally who understands how to install RO systems to install it for me. But with some basic plumbing knowledge, you can even do it yourself. When I was researching, I found one website called Happy Penguin who offers the product plus installation here locally. And I'll leave the link in the description box below. I used their installation service, but I have no experience with their product. So when I go out, I don't drink bottled water at all. I've read in a number of places that it contains several hundred bits of microplastics for just a simple 500 ml water bottle. So when I go out, I plan how much water I need, and I bring all of my own water in stainless steel bottles. And I don't drink any water from outside at all. Now, Singapore's tap water is one of the best in the world, but the system is still not designed to filter out microplastics. And when it comes to plastic bottles, reusable bottles, all of the labels are mostly a commercial scam. They say BPA-free, Triton grade, PPSU durability. All of that is nonsense. If your plastic is BPA-free, guess what? They use an alternative to BPA like BPS or BPF, and that can still leach plastic. So what we need to understand here is that these labels are simply designed to respond to the health concerns of that time period. And hence, we need to do our own research to truly make informed decisions. So, for non-insulated water bottles, the best I found is this one from Decathlon, because even the cap is stainless steel, right? And for insulated bottles, this one from Hydro Flask works well for me, but there are many brands on the market out there. Essentially, you just want as much stainless steel and as little plastic as possible. Now, if you don't have an RO system, you can consider simply boiling your water. I do that when I go overseas, and I've read some articles that claim that boiling gets rid of microplastics, and some other articles saying that it doesn't. But overall, I think it does. Don't ask me how, and that's a simple first step if you don't have or want to buy an RO system. Now that's point number 2, water. Now on to the next section, point number 3, which is foods. Now, microplastics are already present in many of our foods, including animals, which is pretty discouraging. But there are still some actions that we can take. So firstly, I try to buy organic or whole foods as far as it's possible and affordable. And the idea is that the more processed the food, the higher the chance of microplastics, since you just don't know what nonsense they're adding into those foods. So for stainless steel containers, I use these lock and lock stainless steel containers, stainless steel bowls, forks and spoon for my children whenever we go out. The lid for this container, the lid is plastic, but at least the food doesn't come into contact with the lid very much. Now, if you know of any other brands that are 100% stainless steel, please let me know in the comments. I've been trying to find, but I haven't been able to. And at home, we use only glass containers. We've thrown away all our reusable plastic containers. Now, when I go out and eat in the hawker, that's difficult in general because there's plastic everywhere on the plates. But the worst is the most important thing is to avoid hot soup in plastic bowls, whether it's takeaway or just your normal plastic bowl that you eat in. That has plastic as well, by the way. Now, if it's dried food like rice or meat, that's not as bad. But hot soup in plastic is the worst combination, right? If you've seen the scratches on the bottom of one of those hawker bowls, guess where the plastic went? Yep, into your body, slowly and surely over time. So most restaurants use ceramic bowls, and that's okay. But if a hawker uses plastic, I'll just use my own stainless steel container instead. So even when I eat out and I intend to dine out, I will bring my own stainless steel containers. And also, make sure to avoid taking receipts when you buy things. Those are full of microplastics. Right? Just decline the receipt unless you really, really need it. Now, the cultural insight that I've gotten from this whole microplastic exercise is that, especially in Singapore, convenience has become such a norm that it's become almost like a god that we worship. When I suggest people bring their own containers, they stare at me like I'm some weird alien. When I tell them I'd rather go back home and eat than order the soup in that plastic bowl, they wonder why I'm so extreme. In Singapore, life is busy, which means we can't cook much. Which means we not only eat out more often, but we often take away, and usually in plastic containers, single-use ones as well. Now that is deeply concerning. You see, busyness in and of itself is not a bad thing, but it very easily leads to compromise in other areas, and the overuse of plastic is one such example. So for example, in the past there were food delivery services called tingkat, where they pack the food in metal containers, and each time after you finish eating, you wash the container and pass it back to the delivery person for the next time they deliver food. But now, everything is plastic. Nobody has time to wash containers, and nobody wants to. So in other videos, I make the claim that busyness is not a sin per se, but it creates a platform for much compromise and much evil to occur. And this is precisely what I mean. Another principle that I've observed is related to the expiry dates of foods that we keep on our shelves. Many foods have long expiry dates that we can keep for like months, if not years. But what is the trade-off? Well, they're chock full of preservatives and probably microplastics. See, the longer the shelf span, the lower your lifespan. Essentially, when we eat highly processed foods that stay on our shelves for years, we are basically trading our health in exchange for convenience. And that's true for microplastics as well. Today, I hope this service is a public service announcement because many of us just aren't aware of microplastics. And hopefully this video will inspire you to make some changes. But for those who are aware and aren't changing, let me invite you to consider this. Is your life so busy to the point that you'd rather eat a credit card's worth of microplastic a week rather than be inconvenienced to make a few simple changes? What will it take for you to give up your insatiable need for convenience in order to live slightly more troublesome lives that actually protect and serve your health? And now let me conclude with some simple steps. I've shared quite a few key areas where I've made changes, but I understand that you may not have the time or money to make all those changes. So let me just suggest the ones that have the highest impact and the lowest effort. Number 1, change your plastic water bottle to stainless steel. This is a no-brainer and it doesn't cost much at all. Get an imitation hydro flask for $20 or so, or one of the Decathlon bottles for a similar price. Number 2, stop taking away food. Either bring your own container or only eat in ceramic or glass bowls. Now, this is a lot more troublesome, and that I understand. But honestly, once you've made it a norm to bring a container whenever you're going out, regardless of whether you're eating out or bringing food home, once you get that right, it's not that hard, and it's certainly very, very helpful. And it also conserves the environment, and it might save you that 20 or 50 cents that the hawkers are nowadays charging for a takeaway box anyway. Number 3, if you don't want to invest in a reverse osmosis water filtration system, there's a much simpler fix that may be equally effective. Just boil water. Just make sure that the kettle you're using isn't made out of plastic along the sides, but stainless steel or some other non-plastic material. And that's it. Hopefully this video has been helpful, and if you've learned something or enjoyed the content, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.